Is it better to long for the days of old, or to tough it out through new and uncharted territories? Well, before I start this video, it's really important that you decide that for yourself. Now, as the gameplay shows up here, just know that it's not totally relevant. It's just some gameplay I found on my hard drive, and we're going to be talking about games going back to their roots, or trying new and innovative things. So where did I get the idea for this video? Well, a while back I made a video talking about how I liked Call of Duty World War II's maps. And that is true for the most part. They don't ruin the game for me, but then I think about how static and stale they are. Now, with Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare, maps were a little bit more interesting. They had some interactable elements, some dynamic elements, if you will. I wouldn't really call them dynamic, they seemed pretty scripted. But there were moving parts, interactable areas, buttons you could press, walls you could break, things you could knock over, and even some map-specific kill streaks. If you go all the way back to Black Ops 1, you'll see some other interactable objects and items that didn't make it into the Modern Warfare series in any shape or form that I can remember other than minigun turrets. What I'm trying to say is, I wonder if when Call of Duty World War II was in development and Sledgehammer decided they wanted to go back to the roots of Call of Duty because people were not fully pleased with where Call of Duty went over the last 3 years before it, I wonder if they decided that all of the weird gimmicky things from the last couple of Call of Duties really just shouldn't be in the game. And I feel like Call of Duty World War II is a good basic shooter, and I think it's even better now after the latest updates, but I can't shake something. What if Call of Duty would have kept innovating and kept trying to surprise us? Something more interesting than Advanced Warfare, and then more interesting than Black Ops 3, and then more interesting than Infinite Warfare, and doing something else crazier. That doesn't mean wall running, thruster packs, jetpacks, exosuits had to stay in Call of Duty, but just more innovative ideas. Going back to World War II, yes, is a return to Call of Duty's roots, but was that the best choice? I know a lot of us didn't like when Call of Duty became more advanced in science fiction after Advanced Warfare and up through Infinite Warfare. Some people liked AW, Black Ops 3, and IW. Some people only liked 1 or 2 out of the whole thing that happened there. But a lot of people didn't like that Halo 5 added advanced movement. I'm in that category. And a lot of people didn't like when Battlefield left its military setting and went to a cops and criminals setting. I'm not saying every idea in Halo 5, Battlefield Hardline, or Infinite Warfare was amazing or award-winning, but I think I've decided I would much rather Battlefield, Halo, and Call of Duty keep innovating and keep doing new things than just have a complete return to form every couple of years. Boring your community back into wanting innovation again shouldn't be something that has to be done, but unfortunately, people like to associate their problems to a broader issue. The problem with Call of Duty Infinite Warfare is that it's futuristic and set in space. The individual game mechanics, I don't even know what those are, is kind of how I see people's criticisms. Instead of critiquing the individual mechanics, just the fact that the franchise changed it all becomes the target of frustration. And while yes, I think all the franchises I just mentioned and all the games I just mentioned took changes where they didn't need to be, for me personally, some people loved them, and it is important to remember that all the games I mentioned do have their fan bases. But even though all the changes weren't necessary, the fact that change happened is important. Now, I do agree, some of the problems with the games I mentioned is that they have an established fan base that really loves that game for its mechanics, and then the next game in the series doesn't have those mechanics or has completely thrown those mechanics on their head. But I would much rather a franchise that I like take a turn that I don't agree with than just going back and playing it safe. The thing is even a change I don't like is at least something stimulating and something that can be talked about. Going back to things we know and not taking any risks or innovations is kind of a sad thing. And again, I'm not saying that every change is going to be good, every change is going to benefit a series or a franchise. It's not what I mean. But for the sake of discussion, we have to decide for ourselves if we want our favorite franchises to take risks and make changes that we might not agree with, but they are different, or do we want our franchises to play it safe for years after years after years until we go play something else? Now, let's make an example here, and we are going to be using Call of Duty. I've been talking about it recently because it's on my mind. That's how my channel works. The thing is if the rumors about Black Ops 4 losing its campaign and adding a Battle Royale mode are true, Well, I think that's absolutely retarded, and I don't think that should happen. But if the next Black Ops was like a really basic World War II game, or a really simple Vietnam game similar to World at War, or Black Ops 1, or if the next Infinity Ward Call of Duty is going to be Modern Warfare 4, when I go to play it, it basically feels like Modern Warfare 2 and 3. It's like part of me would enjoy the nostalgia, and I know what I like, so having more of it doesn't seem like a bad thing, but I also know that I get fatigued a lot easier. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again, and in fact, I'm really scared that Black Ops 4 is just going to be basically Black Ops 2.5 with a Battle Royale mode. I would take a risky change that I don't fully agree with over the same thing regurgitated back into my face every year, every couple of years from any of the franchises I mentioned. A return to form usually equals a lack of risk. So back to my idea for this video talking about the maps in COD World War II, it's kinda sad. We got used to things being a little bit more interactive and dynamic, and now our maps are stagnant and stale and boring and just completely devoid of any sort of personality. In fact, none of the maps in Call of Duty have really stuck out to me since Advanced Warfare, because Advanced Warfare had really weird maps. The only map in Black Ops 3 that really stands out to me is the picnic table one from the DLC. So developers trying to give me what they think I want based on the things I've played before, versus developers taking risks and crazy changes that are really breathing new life into the franchises they're putting the changes into. I would definitely go with the latter. So the reason I sound biased is really that's where I lean. I really want the franchises I enjoy playing to take risks and make changes and not play it so close to the chest or so close to nostalgia or where the franchise used to be that I end up just growing apart from it. I don't think Call of Duty World War II advanced the COD franchise, it didn't evolve anything, and I think that's what's kept me from getting into it. It doesn't stimulate my mind in any different direction. And also that goes for Battlefield 1 as well. Differently, of course, Battlefield 1 definitely changed more things than COD World War II did when it came to the franchise's mechanics and tropes and conventions. But I feel like those two games kind of lost where the franchises were going. It was like they were on a trek somewhere, and it was unpredictable, it was risky, and a lot of people didn't like all of the places they were going, but instead of continuing on that track to somewhere new, they went backwards. They went to play it safe. They went to go where they had been before. They decided to strip things down instead of build things up, make things basic instead of making things complex. It's really sad. If you go watch the Call of Duty trailers for Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare, and you look at them for the first time, obviously you can't do that now probably, but if you look at them for the first time, you don't know what's going on. You have to pause things, you have to stop things, what gun is that, what ability is that, what gadget is that, what did that person just do? And you go watch like the COD World War II reveal, and it's all stuff I've seen in other shooters and in other COD games. Nowhere did I have to pause it or replay it or see what was happening. I knew what was happening from the moment I saw the reveal trailer. Creative risks beats a safe path. That's just my opinion. Let me know yours down in the comment section below, and I'll see you when I see you. I like a trailer coming out for a game that I have to analyze, not one that is so predictable and boring that I don't need to give a second look. See you when I see you. Goodbye.